Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Magic Threads Connection Through String with me, Jen, Fiber Goddess. And today I have two friends with me. I'll allow them to introduce themselves, but welcome, Melissa and Karen.
Hi,
Hello.
you can go ahead.
Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. Hi, I'm Karen. I live in New York City. My Instagram handle is Creating with Karen. And I'm friends with Melissa and Jen.
Yay. And I am Melissa, and I use the she, her pronouns. And I live in Calgary and friends with Jen and friends with Karen. And my Instagram handle is Knit and Resistance. And this is Tony. He's 3 months old. And so if you hear any jingling or licking, that's this guy.
Oh my
For
gosh.
those of you listening, Melissa is holding up her very, very adorable new little puppy, and he's black and fluffy, and yeah,
Yeah.
He's noodly.
yes.
Yeah.
So I guess my first question for you, as for all of my guests, is how did you get started? So what are your crafts and how did you get started? You go first, Karen.
Okay. So my crafts are many. I grew up in a very crafty household. My mom's a big quilter. My grandmother was a knitter. I think I like tried to learn knitting with my grandmother when I was young, and then in middle school or high school I started crocheting. I kind of taught myself how to crochet. I was like sewing and making my own costumes when I was in middle school and high school. Always doing something crafty. But I think in this capacity, I was kind of reintroduced to knitting. Started out with crochet, but very quickly evolved into knitting. I think like around 2018 or so. I'm a nurse practitioner. I was an ICU nurse for many years and went back to school to be a nurse practitioner. And when I started my first NP job, I was very stressed. And my job is all math and science and precision and life and death, not to be dramatic, but I work in neurosurgery, so it kind of is life and death. um, and so I wanted something where I could be creative and have like an outlet. People are constantly like, oh, you should sell that, oh, you should sell that, but I don't want to be fixed to this product. I just do it for letting my mind go a little bit. I do follow patterns, so sure you're doing some like precision, but I really got into it to be different than like what my everyday life is. So now I mostly knit. I do crochet some blankets and stuff, but I'm big into garments at this point. There's only so many blankets you can have. Yeah.
Cool.
And I started out crocheting, excuse me. One year at Thanksgiving, my sister-in-law just showed up to Thanksgiving and she was crocheting. And I was like, what is that? And how did you figure out how to do that? And I was like instantly interested. I had done a lot of making before. My mom is a quilter. She was not a knitter, but I had quilted many rag quilts and some regular quilts and but crochet was kind of my gateway. So I went home and like went on YouTube, went to Michael's, got all the acrylic yarn and the crappy crochet hooks and are you okay? And so I started like I made 8 million blankets. And then on Instagram, I was like meeting more people. And Karen and a friend of ours, Britt, and I all kind of decided to start knitting socks at the same time. And so the three of us like made a little group. And we like we watched the same YouTube video and like ventured into making socks together.
So your
And
your
our
first
first
knit
sock,
project was socks.
I think my first knitting project was like, I don't know, like a scarf or something.
Okay, okay. I was gonna be super, super impressed
But
that your first project was socks.
it go from that to socks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when
Wow.
you know, like there, it doesn't matter, right? You just follow the instructions. Socks aren't actually that hard. So when we just followed the weird lady on the YouTube video.
She was so good though.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think part of it too was that it was small. So like everything I had been looking at with knitting was like a scarf is it's not a lot, but it's long. And I had made like a very chunky like one of those sweaters, but really it's like a rectangle that you then stitch the sides up. What do they call it? A bolero or something. Anyways, that was like really my only first knitting project. But when we started socks, all three of us had been crocheters, and I think we had met through something that Britt did that was crochet along. But when you looked at the sock, it was like the cuff, and then the leg, and then the heel, and then the foot, and then the toe. And so it was manageable to me in my, scientific mind. It was bite-sized pieces and it was small. So I don't know. It seems hard, but we didn't know any different either. Also, I think my first sock didn't fit my foot, but that's okay.
oh, mine did. I have an amazing picture of the first time I put on my first sock, like on my foot. I have an amazing picture because I was just like, I could not believe it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but then from socks, like it was just like the spiral, the rabbit hole of knitting all the things, and also um, just landed mostly on garments. But I did knit a lot of socks for a while.
Yeah,
So you
same.
you both sort of hit on it, but one of the reasons I wanted to have you both on was because you met online. And I think there's, especially in like the yarn world, there's a lot of online community and a lot of online friendships that I think most people who aren't in this world have no idea about. Like my partner will often be like, "Oh, is that one of your like online friends?"
Friends, yeah.
Like people are like like not real because they're my online friends. So that's how you guys met, right?
Yeah, that is how we met. And like we stayed friends, like we message each other all the time. We haven't messaged each other that much recently. We've both been very busy, but we keep in touch. Like we message each other. Caryn and I, after, I don't know, it was probably a few years, Caryn and I went to Montreal to Knit City and met in person and stayed in the same hotel room. And my husband thought it was crazy. I was going to meet someone from the internet who was likely catfishing me. And I was like, but she knits.
At
Well,
that
also
point, I had met her, so you knew she was real.
Yeah. And
yeah,
we had like I don't think we had zoomed, but we went through a pretty intense Marco Polo phase where you like send videos
yeah,
back and forth to each other. Like I knew she was a real person, but
yeah. Well, we had been exchanging like birthday and Christmas gifts, and
yeah,
like, yeah, I think it had been, I don't know, 4 years or 3 years, something, a lot of years. That's actually the only time we've ever met in person to date.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so the reason that I wanted to bring both of them on was because of this really weird this other weird community connection. So I'm assuming, Karen, you found me through Melissa, I'm guessing, like on
So
Instagram. You
I don't know because I you were also friends with some of my other friends through the music community, and I
Right.
genuinely don't remember if I no, actually, you're right. Melissa, I think, said to me, "Oh, I think I had told Melissa that I was going on the rock boat, and she was like, "Oh, my friend Jen also is going." And but I had already like had some awareness of you, but we hadn't met in person. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Maybe you followed Jen's Instagram account, like just because she was a diet
And
or something. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
and so then I follow people back like I always, if yeah. Anyway, I followed you back, and at one point, I think you posted something about going on the rock boat, which is I've talked about it. I had my friend Anna on a few episodes ago, and we talked a lot about it. So it's this music cruise that I've gone on for a whole bunch of years, and so I was like, "What do you mean this person is a rock boater?" And then I figured out the connection between you two. And so I remember, so Melissa also attends my local knit night at my community center. And Melissa, you were like, "Oh, say hi to Karen for me."
Yeah.
And I, at this point, yeah, I
That's
at this point had assumed that you guys like knew each other online, but had met in person before forging that friendship. So I
right.
remember getting on the boat and I saw this woman walking around with this beautiful shawl. And I was like, wait a minute, that not only is that like a really beautiful shawl, it also looks like hand-dyed yarn. I was like, I think this is Caryn.
I don't even remember what I was wearing, but
I don't remember either, but it was the first night and it's always like chilly that first
oh
night.
yeah, yeah.
And I remember like just going up to you and being like, "Are you Caryn?"
Yeah, no, it was really exciting. And I actually think you said Melissa said to give you a hug, and so I just thought that was sweet too.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
but it
I've
was
never been able to give you a hug in person until then. So
Yeah.
well,
great.
and that's what was wild to me was that I got to meet Caryn in person before Melissa did.
Yeah.
But but then yeah, then there became this like friendship between Caryn and I, and of course we saw each other every year on the rock boat, and we would like, we had late night chats about, knitting gossip and every and stuff.
Yeah.
And was it the last boat you were on? It was a really rainy day and we were in port, and we ended up having like a little knitting circle in the
Yeah.
basement of the boat.
Well, it was fun too because it was in Bar City. It
Yeah.
was fun because a lot of people would walk by and then they would come back with like their knitting or crocheting or whatever because they didn't. I think that's one of the things that I love about the knitting community is there's this misconception with like granny hobbies that it's all older people, but having been in this community for probably, I don't know, what has it been, like 8 years now? It's a lot of people that are young professionals or like moms or
We're
people
everywhere.
everywhere, and you don't realize it. And so I don't know, I loved that too, Jen, because people just kept like joining. I bring knitting every time I go, and I almost never knit because we're just doing too many other things, but it was really nice to have some downtime and knit together, see what everyone is making.
Yeah, it was cool. I have knit previously, but usually it's usually like mornings if I'm up before the music starts, and I'll go back to the great outdoors and I'll just sit there and knit with like, breakfast and whatever. But yeah, it was really cool. But I really love that there's like all of that connection and community. And so I guess that was what my next question for you guys are. And particularly because you're both knitters, what does the knitting community like mean to you and like the connections within it?
Um, so I don't know if anybody knows this that's watching, but I'm in my 40s and am back in university for the second time. I'm taking gender and sexuality studies. And in this last semester that I just finished, I took it's a gender studies class about pop culture. So like how gender influences pop culture. And I had to write a term paper on anything related to pop culture that like spoke to me. And I was like, I'm gonna write about knitting. And so I wrote like I don't know, 1,500 word essay on knitting and how it relates to pop culture. But part of it was about community and how knitting creates community like through the internet and how it creates connections and like how like for some people making friends is hard. Like I'm an introvert. I know Jen's an introvert. Caryn.
The line. I ride the line.
But when you're an introvert, it's like it's hard to get out there and meet new people and make friends. And I really find with knitting, like I also take my knitting everywhere I go, and I go to knit night when I can, and go to yarn festivals. And like I feel like even though Instagram there are a lot of things wrong with Instagram. The biggest thing for me that it has just created so many connections with other people. I've made knitting friends all over the world. And every time I go to a yarn festival, I meet new people. And like you're in a room full of people who have the same interest as you, sorry. And like I've been at yarn festivals with friends and they're like, "You're not an introvert," because I go up and I'm like, "Oh my God, I love your sweater." And yeah, you should totally buy that. And I'm like talking to everybody because I know everybody has the same interest as me. I don't know why I can't say that. But like it's such a cool way to connect because you know that you have something in common, so you have something to talk about. I also really like would rather poke my eye out with a nail than make small talk. So when you're in a room with people that you know you have something in common with, like it gives you something to talk about that you're interested in, and then you can kind of build off of that and make connections. And I don't know, I think it's really special. I don't think knitting is unique to that. I think there's like different communities, all like there's people who play D&D, and there's like cosplay people, like there's all these different communities on Instagram where people make connections. And I just think it's really special. It's really cool to, I don't know, have that thing that you can like build off of, I guess.
That's
No, I
so
agree. Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was just going to say it's so funny that you say that, Melissa, that people are like, "Oh, you're not an introvert." On the boat, my friends are always giving me a really hard time because on the boat, it's the same thing for me as like a yarn festival because everyone is there to love the music and have a great time. And I have made all of these connections, whether it be through yarn or other connections with people. And so they're always like, "Oh my God, we have to stand here and wait for Jen to finish talking to someone." And they're like, you are not an introvert." And I'm like, "Okay, but then I go home and have to sleep for a week
Yeah,
afterwards." But I don't want to stop being that person because I it feeds my soul, for
Absolutely.
lack of a better term. And I feel like it's the same at festivals. And I mean, it's a little different for me because I'm there in a professional capacity, but it's true. Like my cup is full at the end of festivals, even when I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I love it.
I think there's so much right now, globally, that separates us, or that people are kind of, putting everyone in different categories and pots and like whatever. And I think when you are a part of a community, any community, music, D&D, knitting, you don't have to like necessarily look for the commonalities because you have this thing. So, and as far as like a lot of people don't like to make small talk, but if everyone there is wearing something knit, you have something that you can automatically start talking about, or hand-dyed yarn, or music, or whatever. It allows you the comfort of having something to connect on without having to ask a million questions to find out what someone's into, or being worried that you're going to offend somebody, or like you just have this comfortable space that you can exist in.
Totally.
And I
But I
think
also love that all of these communities have people from so many different spaces that are all together too. I like that aspect of that too.
I was going to touch on that too. Like part of what I was writing about in my paper, and part of the thing that I love about like making those connections based on a common interest, is that like it doesn't matter what community you're from, it doesn't matter what your background is, what your sexual orientation is, what your racial background is, any of that. Like at knit night, all we care about is like how soft is that yarn? You know,
Yeah.
that's all we care about. Like I need to touch your sweater, please. Like and like I think it's such a cool way to like bring people together and show people that like we all have so much more in common than we do have differences, you know?
Hmm.
I do really like at shows too is that you find also little like kind of break off communities, and like so like Melissa and I get along really well because we're both very um socially aware and politically aware, and we talk about all of the things. But you see someone at a yarn festival who's wearing like a protect trans kids t-shirt, and you're on that person is like the one that I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
hi, I'm really awkward, but let's be friends," because we think the same way.
I also want to protect trans kids.
Yeah.
I want to show you my shirt. This says more pride, less prejudice.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny because for some reason I was trying to think of what Jen was going to ask us about. And I was like, I hope she doesn't ask me what my favorite movie is because I can never answer that. And then I was like, I think I'd have to say Pride and Prejudice, like the Keira Knightley version. So it's hysterical that you have that on right now.
And you know what else is funny? I've never actually seen Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I'm a big
I'm
period drama person.
I'm a fan of the older version
I
of
mean, I like that one too. Don't get me wrong. I've actually seen all of them.
my
But yeah,
my oldest and I have this ongoing fight. So I was like, okay, a rainy day this summer, let's sit down and we'll watch both and we'll have the deciding argument about which one is better.
they both have their quality, good
Not have,
quality.
let's not have a friend breakup on like live on air here.
Nah.
I don't dislike the Keira Knightley one just for reference. There's some really good parts to it, but I think yeah, my heart I'm older, so my heart belongs to the first one.
You're not that much older. It's okay.
I
Uh,
know.
yeah.
Um, I had a question and now I got distracted by Pride and Prejudice. I
Sorry,
can't remember what I was gonna say. Um,
we were talking about social justice and those types of things.
oh yeah, I think I was just commenting on, yeah, like I really like that that you can find sub communities within like the larger yarn community too. So as much as it brings people together, it can also help you like you're finding your people. I think that's what
Yeah.
I don't know a better way to describe it than finding it helps you find your people.
Yeah.
I think too, like what I've connected with is we've had a lot of things in the last few years that it's been hard to connect, right? Like COVID's a great example. I worked in healthcare. I was isolated from everybody for a long time. And that's, I think, when Britt, Melissa, and I really got the closest, even though we're all the farthest away from each other, because you leaned into those communities that you could do virtually. And
Absolutely. I remember us just like Marco Polo videoing like back and forth, like ping ponging the three of us like all night. And my husband was getting so annoyed. He's like, pay attention to me. I'm like, she's like working in the emergency room in New York City. She needs support.
And also, I'm stuck with you all day, every day.
yeah, no, it was really, I think that's when community becomes even more important too.
hmm
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm
And
not a
now,
arborist.
and not that I was expecting anything less, but now, yeah, we've now gone down a puppy and now we're talking about trees and
There's
Yeah.
a tree in Dallas, Texas that I'm insanely allergic to, and I don't know what it is, but my
Like
friend that
one
lives in
tree
Dallas,
or like a type of tree.
I think there's more than one, but the one I was particularly allergic to, I know exactly where it is. But no, like, apparently that's a thing. Like there are a lot of people that come to Dallas, and there's whatever kind of tree grows there. There are a lot of people that are allergic to it.
Republican. Sorry.
Another reason to stay out. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I just went to get my eyes tested and the doctor was like, I'm seeing some like allergy stuff in your eyes. And I was like, and she's like, do you usually get, and I was like, I'm getting allergies all year long now. Perimenopause and the trees are just trying to kill me 12 months a year.
The trees.
The trees. I don't know if it's the trees. It could be grass. I don't know. It's probably smoke today. I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
Know that all of the trees that shed pollen and make everyone's lives miserable are all male trees.
I,
I mean, I'm not surprised, but no, I didn't know
that
that.
that tracks.
Google it. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
all kinds of things like that. All kinds of fun little nuggets that I've learned at school.
yeah. Your program sounds really interesting, though. And I'm very proud of you for doing it.
It's fun. Thank you. I
Yeah.
have I got my final grades yesterday, and I took 9 classes over the year, and I got 8 A's and 1 A plus.
Yay! Oh, that's so exciting.
Look at you, smarty pants.
My dad was like 1 A plus.
But all A's, that's great. Especially like I think it's hard going back. I keep saying I will not go back anymore. Now I say that, is that true? Will that be forever true? I don't know because I always get sucked into stuff. But It's hard when you're older. I don't know. It's hard to focus. I know you have ADHD. I have ADHD. It's harder for me to rein it in as I get older.
Yeah. Medication helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Melissa, did you meet any knitters in your program?
No,
Yeah.
it's not like I would say 99% of the people in my classes were like 19 and 20 years old, and it's not really broken the that demographic quite yet. I think like once they've been in university for a few years, then maybe they start knitting because they're trying to look for stress relief. And even then, I don't think they take it out in public with them quite yet.
That's fair.
But
I knit in the park near my house on Sundays. I try to keep Sundays just to like prep for the week and decompression and cleaning the house. But I always try to go sit in the park for a couple hours and knit. And there have been so many people that are in fashion school that will come up to me and ask like what I'm knitting on. And a lot of the fashion school people are also trying to do like fiber arts and stuff like that. I thought that was neat.
yeah, that's cool. There's an art school in Calgary. I don't know what it's called now. It used to be, I can't even remember what it used to be called now. Anyway, you could, it
Alberta, you know,
used to be ACAD, right? Alberta
yes.
College of Art and Design, but it's
Yeah.
called something else now. But you could major in fiber arts there. I think Susan did, didn't she, Jen?
I think so. I can't remember.
Anyway, I know you can, or
Yeah.
you could anyway, major in fiber arts, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But then, like, what do you do with that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I was always interested.
Design, probably.
Yeah, I was always interested in doing like the master spinner program too, but then I was like, but then I'm like not spinning for
For fun, exactly.
fun. Like
Yeah,
you were talking about earlier, Karen, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't want to make spinning work for me. Spinning is my mental health care and my meditation. I didn't want to make it like stressful and work.
exactly. When you start like putting it into making a profit and like and turning it into something that sucks all the joy out of it, then why would you even want to do it, you know?
Well, and for
I
me,
mean,
it's the
I
timeline.
understand people who do it for a living and whatever, but like when you're doing it for enjoyment and for relaxation and for like your mental health, that you don't want to take any of that away, I think. And
Although, I mean, I kind of do that anyway, because like yarn is my my job and my whole I was like, wait a minute, I kind of did that to myself anyway, just without the school
yarn and
part.
knitting yarn are totally different things.
Yeah, exactly. It's the timeline for me too, though, because everything in my life is on the calendar, and I don't necessarily want my knitting to have to be on the calendar. Even if my mom asks me to make something, which she has, I'll tell her, yes, I will make it for you, but I won't guarantee it's going to be done at any particular time. I'm also the worst about having a bajillion projects going at the same time, and I don't know if it's ADHD or what it is, but like I will be really into one project and then I don't want to knit on it anymore and I put it aside and I'll come back to it. But so I don't want to have a timeline. I stopped doing test knits for that reason too, because it was giving me so much anxiety that it wasn't fun.
Yeah, when you have a deadline, it makes it way less fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't that's why I don't like doing make-alongs either. So first of all, I'm way too much of a control freak to not know what my final project is gonna like the final product will be. But yeah, I've done a couple of test knits and yeah, it felt super stressful because it was
Um,
like
I
deadline.
like them for the community aspect, but the timeline just became, and also like I don't know work wise how much I'm gonna have to focus on that, and it was just too much.
I would like to make a comment about how funny it is that Jen says she doesn't like pressure knitting because before every single yarn festival that she vends at, she's making at least two things, like two samples for herself to like until like midnight the night before in her hotel room.
Thanks for calling me out, Melissa. That was awesome, but you are absolutely not wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone, This is, yeah, this will be recorded before but I don't know if anyone saw my Tour de Fleece is starting this weekend, which is the spinning event. And I like made a completely unrealistic goal for myself.
Doesn't sound like you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good for
yeah.
you.
I Right? And then someone commented, and I was like, well, if I don't give myself unrealistic expectations, then how am I going to be disappointed in myself?
Oh, we'll be proud of you no matter what. Do you do an e-spinner or how do you spin?
I have actually, I have four different wheels.
Wow.
I have,
E-spinner though, right?
sorry,
So you use your e-spinner, right?
I do use my e-spinner. I have two e-spinners and I use them both a lot. And I have a treadle wheel and then I have an antique wheel that I don't use as much, but I have that as well. So I'm prepping three of my wheels to have in different areas. One will be my outside wheel, one will be my upstairs living room wheel, and the other will be my rec room wheels that I use while I'm watching TV. So, yeah,
Nice. And you get a little bit of time on all of the different fibers.
exactly. So it's like tickling that multi-project itch that
Yes.
my
Yeah.
brain has. But I
I
don't have ADHD.
I think about spinning and then I'm like, Karen, you do not have space for anything else in this apartment. I live in New York City, like our apartments are small, but also I would then like not do any of the other stuff that I get like hyper focused. So yeah, no.
I went
Are you still spinning?
I went down that rabbit hole a few years ago. I took a learn to spin class at Stash. And like got obsessed, bought myself a spinning wheel, bought like millions of things of
Fiber.
fiber, thank you. And then like I loved it, but then I was always like, okay, well I have time. Should I spin or should I knit? And I was always choosing knitting and like I don't have time to do both. And so I just couldn't keep up with it. I would just always choose knitting over spinning. So
I also have had to like stop allowing myself to buy single skeins. Although when I was in Paris, I did buy a single skein. So I'm going to make a one skein scarf shawl thing. But more storage, I'm not getting through the yarn that I have. And I think if I was spinning, I don't know what I would make with that. And I know like that's not the point of it for a lot of people, but I had to rein it in a little bit.
No, that's totally fair, which is why I started selling my handspun yarn was because
Oh,
I love spinning, but then I wasn't spinning for a project. I was just and then I'd have all of these skeins
yeah.
of
Does it make you
hands.
sad though to get rid of them?
It does. So I actually have Melissa's seen it. It's like this really cool antique suitcase that my in-laws actually immigrated to Canada with.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. In the bottom of the suitcase, there's still the newspaper that they lined it with, which I've covered in like silk, and then I put the yarn on top of it. But I always keep the newspaper in there. But yeah, I like if I sell a skein of handspun, I do like a little like ceremonial goodbye to each skein that I sell
Yeah,
at shows.
I bet because that's a lot of time and effort. I mean, I know that you dye your other yarn, but or fibers, but I don't know, that's different.
It is like handspun is different because literally my fingers have touched every inch of the yarn multiple times because I spin it and then I ply it, right? So I've touched every single like yeah
yeah.
piece
It
of
has to
it.
be
So
cool though when you see things that people make with it.
it is cool. I love when people like fall in love. And it's kind of cool at festivals because a lot of times one of my skeins of handspun will be someone's like one special purchase. And
Mhm.
like I'll get it like I often get people coming back at the end of the day or coming back the second day if it's like a Knit City like 2-day event where they come back and they're like, I couldn't stop thinking about this last night. And
Oh,
that
that's sweet.
it's really cool because then it like yeah it is special, it's unique. There's never going to be like even two braids spun like dyed the same is never going to come out the same way, so Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a cool suitcase. Can you see back here, Jen?
Yeah,
Sort
I
of,
do.
sort of like yours, but not as cool. But this was my grandma passed away in January, and this was her suitcase. I think that she took on honeymoon with her. I think they got married in like the early 40s. And inside it is her wedding dress.
Oh, that's really sweet.
That's amazing.
I love it. I was like, yay, and now I have a suitcase like Jen.
Yeah.
I also have I have another one. It's like and I haven't figured out what to put in it yet, and I need to figure that out, but it's like it's really small. It's only about like maybe like a foot by like 10 inches. Like um and but it was my mother-in-law's school like bag. It's
Aw,
like what she would like carry to school with her when she was a little girl.
sweet.
Um, so yeah, I need to figure out something. I need to figure out something to put in it, but I have that too, which is kind of
It's
cool.
nice to hang on to that stuff though. It was hard. I moved my family's originally over by in Western New York by Buffalo, and then I like traveled around the country a bit, and then I landed here. But every time I've had to like downsize, 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 and so I don't. I try not to attach to stuff too much, but I love looking around my apartment and like my grandmother's cuckoo clock is up here on the wall, and like I just have a couple of little morsels that I wanted to keep around. So I love that you've kept those suitcases.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining me today. I was really excited to talk about that. Yeah, that whole concept of online communities and connections and how they happen and, how real friendships can forge from, online connections. But I do have one last question that I've been asking all of my guests. Do you have like a pop culture guilty pleasure that you maybe don't let a lot of people know about?
Mm.
That's a hard one. I'm like not quiet. So I don't know, like everybody knows everything about me. And if I should have been an infomercialist because if I love something, everybody hears about it. If I hate it, everybody hears about it. Um,
That's fair. But like for me, mine is like, and I talked about it on a previous podcast, but like mine is like the Fast and the Furious movies because they are so anti-feminist and so like just machismo and toxic, but I freaking love them and I can just watch them over and over again.
Totally.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like I said, I just took a pop culture class, like how gender influences pop culture, and we talked a lot about like one of our modules was about like guilty pleasure and camp and like so bad it's good. Like there's a whole like other community of people, just like a knitting community of people who like are obsessed with movies that are so bad it's good, and there are like academic papers on it, and like it's really, really interesting. But we were talking about guilty pleasures, and I couldn't really think of one. Um, but I'm not a reality TV person. Like it's like all of the like The Bachelor and the Love Island and like all that kind of stuff. Like I don't judge anybody who does like them, but it's not really my thing. But in the last 6 months, probably, I've watched all 3 seasons of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders documentary on Netflix. And like, I turned it on at first and I was like, oh my God. And I was just like, it's so against all of the things that I, like as a raging feminist. But then like they sort of develop their stories throughout the season and they're working really hard and they're not getting paid anything and like yes, they all have to like do them they do all the makeup and the fillers and they all look exactly the same. It's crazy. They all look like clones. But then like at the end they fight. I can't remember which season it was, but they are like fighting with management to get a pay raise and they get like a huge pay raise at the end. I'm like, yeah, now you can go like be objectified in front of 80,000 people. Yeah. but you're gonna get paid really well for it. And like it was such a journey for me. I was like, oh, stop doing that. But yes, like it was a wild ride.
I
So fun.
love that. I love that. I feel like I know you a little bit better now.
Yeah.
I think I watched the first season of that. I can't remember. I'm not a reality TV show person either, except lately I've been really into Summer House because everyone at work is watching it, so I've started watching it. But like I don't do Housewives or anything. I think the only thing I can really think of, because I'm not really like a guilty pleasure person. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And I try really hard not to guilt myself out of anything. But um on the theme of like cultural appropriate, I love like 80s sitcoms, and they did not age well.
Yeah.
Um but I keep watching that because you know why? I come home from work and I just need something that's mindless, but I don't like the reality TV show stuff. I love true crime, but I have to actually pay attention to that. And so like Designing Women did not age well, but it's fun to watch. The Golden Girls, Melissa and I both really,
Yes.
really love. I just did a rewatch of Golden Palace again, which I hadn't seen in a while. They're
Golden Girls holds up though. I will say Golden Girls actually holds
for
up
the
pretty.
most part, that one is okay. But yeah, like, do I cringe a little bit at some of the content? Yeah, but I still watch them.
But I think there's a whole
It's time. Like
What'd you say?
it was talking, Golden Girls was like talking about subjects
Yeah.
way this time for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know if you talked about this in your class, Melissa, but there is a whole phenomenon of exactly what you were talking about, Karen, of the comfort watch. Like the
Mhm.
things that you've watched over and over and over again. And it's actually like it's like kind of a trauma response in some
Yeah.
like it's like yeah, getting away from your daily life and like forgetting about, and I do that constantly, especially when I'm working and I'm like labeling yarn or even when I'm spinning or whatever, I will watch stuff that like I'm rewatching Schitt's Creek right now.
Yes, I
And
love that one.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Those are
it
those are my main ones. Like if I just need to turn something on, it's my number one is always Golden Girls. Like if I just want to like sit and not think about anything and not even have to look at the TV, it's always Golden Girls. But we rewatch The Office all the time. We rewatch Schitt's Creek all the time.
yeah, I really my other one is Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, I love Ted Lasso. There's a new season coming out, I
I
think.
know, yes, with the
Women.
women's team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really so yeah, like I will rewatch and like things that haven't held up well, like Dawson's Creek. I
Yeah.
watch that I will rewatch every once in a while, but I know
Mhm.
that one makes me cry, so I have to be in a certain mood to like watch to start watching that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also have to be in the right mood to watch the Cowboys cheerleaders too. I started When I started watching the third season, I was like, I don't know what kind of mood it was I was in, but I turned it on and they were like talking about, oh, life is so hard now that I'm like so famous. And I had to turn it off. I was like, no, I'm not in the right mood for this.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's fair. Yeah.
Don't you also do Gilmore Girls, Jen?
I that is one that also does not hold up
Does not hold
well.
up.
And
Yeah.
it frustrates me and I actually hate most of the characters, but do I watch it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I I still watch it and I still like get emotional and but do I hate them? And like do I think
Oh,
Rory is the worst person on the planet? Yes, she is the worst person ever.
but it's that comfort, like just and for me it's the mindlessness too, just letting it be in
Well,
the
I
back.
mean, and even if like, even with Dawson's Creek, I know that the sad stuff's coming, but I know that it's going to happen. And it's like that predictability of knowing like there's no surprises. There's no like, yeah, I think that's what it is for me. It's just like I know that I can just, my brain can just relax. It doesn't have to be in like, alert
Fight or
mode.
flight. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, especially when like every day, we don't know what we're gonna hear about. So at least there, you know what's coming.
And it's extra sad now too that Dawson passed away recently. And like we were watching Schitt's Creek just the other day, and like it's extra sad now that Catherine O'Hara is not with us anymore, and it's just like it makes it that much more special to watch them even. Yeah.
I know I was having that discussion with my kids today that, yeah, that there's never going to be more Schitt's Creek
Yeah.
because, yeah, they'll
Never.
never do it without Catherine. Which is,
No, and they shouldn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
sad.
my newest comfort watch, which I know Melissa will not be surprised at all, is like is Heated Rivalry has become
Oh
a
Oh
yeah.
comfort watch.
I did one run through of that. Yeah.
Okay, you got to do a reheat. That's what Jen calls it. You got to do a reheat.
Hey,
Even
okay.
better the second time.
To be fair, I did not come up with reheat. I just saw that online.
That's what the kids are saying these days.
That's what the kids are calling it. Yeah, the reheat.
Yeah.
And then there's the three heat, right? Yeah.
Yeah, who
Makes
knows? Yeah,
sense.
I don't even that whole like that whole fandom is really weird and intense and I'm like I'll just watch the hockey and like my hockey boys fall in love and it makes me happy.
And then you watch real hockey and you're like, rage,
Yeah.
rage.
There's that. Except I am fully invested in the PWHL
Oh
at
yeah.
right now. Like I am, yeah, fully. I watched the
The lesbians would never.
right. I I watched the draft. That's how into the PWHL I am. And like, yeah, the lesbians are like, I just saw a post the other day and it was like all of the queer people in the PWHL. And it's, yeah, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
Not to be problematic. I understand that not all women hockey players are lesbians, but there are a lot of them. And like it's so interesting to me. Like I read an article not that long ago about how like all the women's sports that are like making such huge strides right now, like they're creating like an entirely new market, like a fan base, like of people who didn't watch any sport, like the male counterpart of that's like male hockey or men's basketball or men's this or men's that. They're just like joining to watch women's sports and were didn't watch other sports before. Like it's an entirely new fan base, an entirely new market. And I think that's so cool and so like go women's sports. Like
I mean, even the fact that bars around New York City now are advertising games that are women's sports leagues. And I like you never used to see that before. And so I love that.
it's
Well,
amazing.
even recently, Hockey Night in Canada, which has been a staple in, you probably don't know this, Karen, but Hockey Night in Canada has been a staple for like 75 years, I think. Like every Saturday night, there was a hockey game. Like when I didn't have cable when I was a kid, that's when I watched hockey.
Mhm.
And they just recently lost, like they're not going to be broadcasting
On CBC.
men. Yeah, on CBC anymore. Yeah, obviously they're still going to be, but they're not going to be broadcasting on CBC anymore. And they've just announced that it taking its place, it's going to be they're focusing on women's sports,
Wow.
which is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Good for them.
Yeah.
Go women.
Go
Yes.
women.
Yay. Well, thank you both so much for joining me. And yeah, it's been great. And hopefully, yeah, I have no idea when I'll see you again in person, Karen, but we should get together and knit soon, Melissa.
Yeah, I've been having trouble getting to knit night because my younger son has diving like all the time, and it's always on the same night as knit night, and it makes me sad because I miss my people.
Well, we should do a summer
Yes, we should.
night. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.